Hello, friends. What's the story? How are we? Welcome to Rendezvous with Jamie McClue. So, just a little episode to talk about the idea of the peaceful warrior. So, basically, this is kind of articulated in the book The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. Great book. Um, but it's kind of I guess it's an older idea, but the idea of that, pacifism, like just not doing anything, but it's never right to use violence, even to defend myself against a criminal or something, that doesn't actually really make a lot of sense. But that when you really truly have inner peace and you truly have that love and that you recognize yourself in all things and you recognize that we're all branches on the one tree, the oneness of the universe, then you feel not just a responsibility to help the world, but also just a desire just for fun and for self-interest, because you see yourself everywhere. Like, oh, how beautiful would it be if we could all get along? And then how amazing is it going to be to experience that kind of world? Um, and so the peaceful warrior is someone who is willing. I mean, you could define it many ways, but you could say someone who's willing to be brave and take action to, kind of try to heal the world and improve the world, starting with oneself, but being a good example. And, also, standing up for yourself, standing up for others. So there's kind of like spirituality and self-awareness, um, but also um, kind of sharing the gift of love with the world, not needing to control others, but not allowing others to control you, and kind of yeah, like uh, finding the balance where you're serving the world and you're a force of good. You're a knight in shining armor, where if some injustice is starting to take place in front of you, it's not going to, because well, you will do what you can to stop it. So it's this, warrior and peace. They seem to be. It's an oxymoron, right? Or it's a paradox, really. It seems like opposites. Like seems like a contradiction, but it's the reconciliation of opposites. So understanding that the true warrior, the truly powerful master of, conflict is one who understands that it should only be in the service of harmony, and we should always lean towards peace and not conflict. But sometimes, trouble comes knocking, and you got to stand up to it. Um, and so I see a lot of people who, and this would be just to finish the point here, say these days there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. Governments trying to take over the world, and lies and corporations controlling, society more and more. Governments taking away individual freedoms, and just people, kind of crazy ideas, bad culture kind of spreading, where these kind of ideas which don't make a lot of sense and would have been laughed out of the room, for 5 years ago, and then suddenly it's all, oh, everyone has to believe in it. Um, uh, there's all this stuff going on where it's kind of quite destabilizing, and there's a lot of negative things. Some of it intentional, some of it accidental, where people are just not aware what they're doing and they're getting lost in this ideology. And so on the one side, you have people who are like very aware, and they're, say, spiritual people, but they might feel like, well, everyone's got to learn their lessons, and I shouldn't try to control the world. It's about my internal evolution. You can't get lost in trying to control the world. It's all conflict exists as a way to help us grow. And so I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to do my yoga and do my reading and do my meditation and love my family and my friends and be a good person and be productive and self-sufficient and all that, and have a good sense of humor and not get lost in some quixotic crusade to save the world. And then the others, and that's pretty healthy, but and then on the other side, you have people who are like, involved in the trenches. They're trying to change the world. They're involved in local politics, or they help volunteering to help people who are in a disadvantaged situation, um, or they're taking action against evil, or like oppression and prejudice and dangerous people, criminality. People who are trying to put criminals in jail. Good lawyers doing pro bono work to take down psychopaths or whatever. But you could say, well, yeah, okay, actually, fair enough. You're actually, from their point of view, they'd be like, these other people kind of just doing hand waving to justify the fact that they're not getting involved. Like, why don't you just put in the work and don't be so self-centered? Go help other people and make the world a better place. If you came and put in your shoulder to the wheel, the world would be a lot better of a better place. And so I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, which is basically the sweet spot. And everyone's learning their own thing, so it's fine. Wherever you are is cool. You do you. But what is the wise course of action? What should we be doing ideally? I think it is in the middle where um, maybe there's seasons of time where you could be just on your own and you're taking, the winter, which recharges your, the sap in your roots, so then you can spring forth again next season. But in general, having that balance where, yes, you're cultivating your own inner abundance and inner peace and inner harmony, which will then be expressed in the world through all of your actions. Don't put the cart before the horse, focus on yourself first, yes. But then also, just because, yeah, you shouldn't get lost in some crusade and like make a big identity out of it and demonize people and us against them. I got to fix this and get all stressed about the world and like it's all in the future. One day it'll be fine. No, enjoy the now, see the perfection in the now. But it's not either or. There's a third option, which is you do that internal work, but you also do external work, but you just don't need to identify with it. You don't need it to fulfill you. So don't get lost in it. Maintain your sense of humor, maintain your sense of love and generosity to all beings. But you can have this thing where it can be a bit narcissistic, where you're just meditating all day and you're meanwhile the world's falling apart. Or on the other side, you're trying to do all this stuff to help the world, but then you're never meditating. And so you're actually part of the problem, really. You're part of that lower consciousness, which is creating all the problems. So I think the way of the peaceful warrior, I think we should all be embodying, is basically, yeah, do your own internal work um, out of love for yourself and for your fellow beings that you can help the world. And get involved in helping the world in whatever way you can. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's like starting a business where you provide for people in your area. I'm going to sell organic vegetables or something. And yeah, great. There's 100, or maybe it's just being nice to the people around you, being a good mother who takes care of, people. After all, mothers, everything. If we have good mothers, we have good people, more or less, it's incredibly important. But whatever, you can do your role, but have that sense that, yeah, it's not just about the internal, it's also about the external, but not to get lost in, an extreme. Find the balance, the way of the peaceful warrior. Gach Bannacht, Div, every blessing to you all, and good luck.